Genesis 37. Remember, there's lucky sevens. I'll let you in on a little secret. All numbers are good. It's all good. Like, all numbers are good, but certain numbers are special. Like, there's only one God, so one. God is God in three persons, so three. Seven. I think Kadosh Malakim, they like seven. So it's eerie. This is Genesis 37, and it's about a very amazing person. It's an amazing story. Joseph's story. You know, he's so cool. I have to call him Av Joseph. And Av is a father. You know, like Father Abraham. He's Av Avraham. Kind of interesting. His name's Av Avraham. Now, Abraham is Avraham in Hebrew. Father Abraham would be Av Avraham. Joseph. Spoiler alert. Joseph, remember, he's the son of Jacob and Rachel. Jacob had 4 wives, but Jacob loved Rachel the most. And Rachel only had 2 kids, Joseph and Benjamin. So Joseph is young, you know, because he has 11 brothers. He's one of the younger. He's young. I think he might be the youngest. There's like Dinah, there's Joseph and Benjamin. Benjamin's the absolute youngest. Joseph's younger brother. He's the youngest, Benjamin, the baby. So let's hear about what God, the one true God. And remember, God is important. Now, I'm a person, but God is God in 3 persons. He is the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. I don't know how, but he's God in 3 persons. He's not a person. I mean, he has personhood. You know, he has a personality that, you know, you can relate to. But I'm a man and he's God. You know, there's a song called, I forgot, but there's the lyrics are, "You're God and I'm not." You know, it's a song by Vertical Horizon. So God is, you know, God in 3 persons? But this is what God did with or through Joseph. So Joseph, he was 17, and he was watching the animals. And then it says, now Israel, that's Jacob. He has 2 names. He liked Joseph. I was going to call him JJ. He loved Joseph more than any of his other sons. Why? Because he was old when he had Joseph. So he made an ornate robe for him. It's a colorful robe. When his brothers saw that their father gave him a robe like that, they hated him. That means they left him alone, or they didn't really hate him. They shunned him and could not say a kind word to him. They could not speak a kind word to him. Joseph had a dream. And he told it to his brothers, and then they hated him more, so they left him alone even more. Listen to this dream. We were binding sheaves of grain in the field when my sheaf rose and stood upright, while your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it. His brothers said to him, "Do you intend to reign over us? Will you actually rule us?" And they left him alone even more because of his dream. You know, they're binding grain, so it's what he does. That's what I think. Like, Joseph will do something greater than what his brothers will ever do. Then he had another dream. I had another dream, and this time the sun, moon, and 11 stars were bowing to me. When he told his father, his brothers, his father got mad at him. "What kind of dream is that? Will your mother and I and my brothers actually come and bow down to the ground before you?" Now, remember that earlier, you have to watch my earlier video. Jacob bowed down to the ground before his brother Esau. And one bow was for his brother because he respected his older brother. But he bowed 7 times, but he was just bowing to God, and he's Kadosh Malachim. They have these. God has, because God's not an old guy that can do everything. Some people don't really know that. He has many. He's like a king, or like Elon Musk. You know, there's a lot of people working for him, serving him. These Kadosh Malachim. They like work for him, but they are like his children too. Kadosh Malachim. They're God's children too. And you wonder why I say children when we could be children of God, right? Or a son or daughter of God. Because God, the Creator, He's really old. He's really old, you know. Some of these Kadosh Malachim could be billions of years old, and then they're just like little children to God. So, you know, if we're children of God, we're just like, so tiny, so young, like a baby. Okay, so again, I don't believe that his parents are angry and his brothers that they're going to have to bow down to their young son or younger brother. Like one day, because you have to think about history, you know, like what's been happening with their like uncles, or you know, their grandfather or their great grandfather. So it's like, because Jacob is really intelligent, he's like, one day you'll have to leave us, and we will meet up again, and we will come and greet you, but they're older, so they will be bowing down to God and the Kadosh Malachim. So they have no idea what's going on, you know, like, what does God have, planned for the future? His brothers were jealous of him. I don't think they were actually jealous. They thought, wow, God really intends to do something great with our little brother. But his father, so they had no idea, but his father kept the matter in mind. He kept praying and trying to meditate. And he probably kept asking God and the Creator, the one true God, and his Kadosh Malachim, what's going to happen? Can we participate? It must be a grand plan, because some people, believe it or not, in the past, because they actually saw these Kadosh Malachim, they kept talking to God and his Kadosh Malachim. They want to participate, they want to know what's going on, and, oh, okay, I don't understand, and then, I have vacation plans, and what's going to happen 2 months from now, and I think you know what I'm saying. So this is, again, Joseph's story. Joseph is sold by his brothers. Remember, God has an amazing plan to make Joseph someone, to make him great. Now, his brothers had gone to graze their flocks near Shechem. And Israel said to Joseph, as you know, your brothers are near Shechem. I'm going to send you to them. Very well, Joseph replied. So Israel, his father, said to Joseph, go and see if all is well with your brothers, and bring word back to me. When Joseph arrived at Shechem, a man found him wandering around in the fields and asked him, what are you looking for? He replied, I'm looking for my brothers. Can you tell me where they are grazing their flocks? They have moved on from here, the man, a Kadosh Malachim, answered. I heard them say, let's go to Dothan. So Joseph went after his brothers and found them near Dothan. But his brothers saw him from far away, and before he reached them, they plotted to kill him. Here comes that dreamer, they said to each other. Come now, let's kill him and throw him into one of these cisterns and say an animal ate him. Then we'll see what comes of his dreams. Remember, you have to watch my earlier videos. A guy named Simeon and another guy named Levi or Levi. Those two guys, they're Joseph's brothers. Two of them killed all these Hivites for raping their sister. So these guys are some serious fighters. What I think is going on is they want to test God. They're like, let's try to kill our brother, and if he survives, I know God has a plan for him. There's a thing that when Reuben heard this, he tried to rescue him from their hands. Let's not take their life, he said. Reuben is one of the brothers. Don't shed any blood. Throw him into the cistern here in the wilderness, but don't lay a hand on him. Reuben said this to rescue him from them and take him back to his father. So Joseph came, they stripped him of his colorful robe, and they took him and threw him into the cistern. There was no water in there. And they sat down to eat. They looked up and saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. Their camels were loaded with spices, balm, and myrrh. Okay, let's take a look at this. Earlier, I might have mentioned that there were these three kings that brought gifts to Jesus Christ. They brought gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Now, Jesus Christ is the King of Kings, but he is also said to be the high priest and the chief prophet, like a chief cornerstone. So it's gold for a king, right? And then frankincense for the priest, because like incense, right? And then the myrrh for the chief prophet. But myrrh, I believe, has to do with death, you know. I think that you put myrrh on a body, a dead body, so it doesn't smell. So these camels had all this spices, balm, you know, like, you know what a balm is. It's like this oily stuff that it's like a lotion, but it's not, balm. So these camels had all this stuff for preserving dead bodies, and they were on their way to take them to Egypt. Judah, another brother, said, "What will we gain if we kill him and cover up his blood? Let's just sell him to these guys, these Ishmaelites, and not hurt him. He's our brother." You know? And his brothers said, "Yeah, they agreed. Yeah, okay, yeah. Maybe we're kidding. You know, just sell him, make some money." So when the Midianite merchants came by, his brothers pulled Joseph out of the cistern and sold him for 20 shekels of silver to the Ishmaelites who took him to Egypt. So when the Midianite merchants came by, his brothers pulled him out of the cistern and sold him for 20 shekels to the Ishmaelites. Okay. So the Ishmaelites are like movers, and they don't handle money. So the Midianites handle money, and the Ishmaelites are movers. When Reuben came back, he saw that Joseph was gone. He wanted to return him to his father, to their father. "The boy isn't there. Where can I turn now?" Then the brothers got his robe, and they killed a goat and took the blood and put blood on his robe. Then they took the colorful robe back to their father and said, "We found this. See if it is Joseph's robe." And Jacob, he recognized it and said, "It's my son Joseph's robe. Some ferocious animal has eaten him." Then it says Jacob tore his clothes. So Israel tore his clothes, put on sackcloth, and mourned for his son. All his sons and daughters came to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. "No," he said, "I will continue to mourn until I die too." So his father wept for him. They didn't actually cry. Meanwhile, the Midianites sold Joseph to a guy named Potiphar, one of the Pharaoh, who's like the king of Egypt's officials, the captain of the guard. So remember, his brothers sold him to the Midianites, and then the Ishmaelites moved him to Egypt. And they worked together. The Midianites handle the money, and the Ishmaelites hold him like that, probably. And then they sold him to a guy named Potiphar, who's the king of Egypt's captain of the guard. So he's like the guard is more like secret service for the king, the Pharaoh. So he's like the captain of the secret service to the king or Pharaoh of Egypt, this Potiphar guy. Thank you for listening. This is a longer video. We'll stop here. Remember, keep God first, or put God first. He'll take you places. This is Jimmy Chan. I wrote this book called Homeless No More. My vision for the future. Please contact me